2X2L calling CQ, New York. Isn't there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone on the air?
I think I made essentially a mistake staying in movies it's the mistake I can't regret because it's like saying I shouldn't have stayed married to that woman, but I did because I love her.
Do I need to argue it? Is there any man with a decent regard for human life? And the slightest bit of heart?
Say that children are imitative and that they tend to imitate what they see or read.
If they were, they would have come from the Bear Pits and the Globe Theatre and committed some rather extraordinary acts in the Elizabethan days.
It's my belief that everything, even death, can be turned into profit.
I used to believe in God.
Virtue triumphs, whereas in the horror comics it doesn't.
Doesn't it?
I don't think so, no.
No, not really.
Well, it doesn't in Edgar Allan Poe either, you know.
I believe in God and mercy and all that, but the dead are happier dead.
Every list of great films, of course, many of them lead with Citizen Kane, and
Your working man expects something as his right, not as your gift.
and say it's the finest film made. Do you agree?
No, certainly not.
There was a man sitting in the front row who looked up at me.
Just want to persuade people that you love them so much that they ought to love you back.
A man who looked up at me as I opened my mouth to speak at me. Folded his arms. Well, I assure you that I would rather have been shot.
Governments don't, why should we? They talk about the people and the proletariat. I talk about the suckers and the mugs. It's the same thing. They have their 5-year plans. So have I.
By way of introduction, this is a film about trickery.
You know technically that the whole bag of movies can be learned in about a day and a half. And he came to my office and said, I want to work in your picture.
Your Honor, that's true.
So of course I'm afraid to submit this case to a jury where the responsibility must be divided by 12. I said, why do you, Mr. Toland? He said, because you've never made a picture. And you don't know what cannot be done.
That little music playing and then an announcer coming on and saying, excuse me, we interrupt this program to bring you an announcement from Jersey City. Jersey City has just fallen.
The notion that Kane himself is some sort of version of myself, I'd really fail to recognize.
It's the best part I ever had.
It was the only chance I ever had of that kind. I wish I had it more often.
I don't know, Mr. Wilson. I can't believe that people can be reformed except from within.
Victims? Be melodramatic.
Look down there. Do you really feel any pity if one of those dots stop moving forever?
I fear dying before I have accomplished something that I'm not ashamed of, that I'm afraid that I will be taken away before I have justified the luck and joy that I've had.
In my case, I didn't want money. I wanted authority. So I asked the impossible, hoping to be left alone.
The idea of earning my living as an actor was so preposterous that it seemed to me probably the preposterous story was the only possible way of proposing it.
Creative thing, it's a style, and there's a certain kind of filmmaker who really wants to make the film entirely on his own. And that sort of fellow is the sworn enemy of the system.
I didn't go to jail. I went to Hollywood.
Isn't there anyone? 2X2L.